Hi, Lorraine here for GoGo Getaway and for the GoGo Day-Away Photo-Rama event. So I'm here with session 2, that's my Filled with Love class, using that Simple Stories Cottage Fields range, which is beautiful. Slight vintage feel, but also very much for modern photos too. So it's using this cut file that I've designed for this event, and the idea, the concept of this class is we're going to actually fill those apertures with photos. So this gives a really cool way to add shaped photos to your layout, and in this case circular ones. So you've got in your kit obviously this cut file. The first thing we're going to do so it can dry is to paint this with those lovely shimmers. So I've decided that I'm going to go with the pink. So you can see me just here, I've added spritz some water into that to activate that medium, and I'm just doing a light coat here across, there we go, on the cut file. I don't know why it seems to be a little bit of a stop and pause there, and then it speeds up, but there we go. So it's painted, just a couple of coats there, lovely and shimmery colours. Let it dry, it dried really quickly. So here I am spending loads of time, but you don't get to see it all, you'll be very pleased to see, of adding those little 3D foam squares there. So there it is. So I've added my first photo, my focal point photo in the middle. I've gone for black and white so they don't fight with the lovely soft colours of this kit. So to cut those photos out, I've given you a tip in the instructions. So you've got the inners of this cut file, so the hearts and the circles. So I've used them as template to cut your photos out. Obviously you need them to be just a tiny bit bigger so that they actually then stick onto those the foam pads. So here we go, we've got the cut file complete here that I've just drawing round the whole outside edge with a pencil, with the rear facing upwards. Be easier to do this without the sticky dots, but I decided to do this in the process of creating this, but in the instructions it's done in a more methodical order. So there I am cutting that out. So basically that's just going to make that sort of offset or shadow and a solid piece behind that cut file. So there we go, lots of bubbles. So I'm going to add a bit of texture around this cardstock shape, just with my distressing tool. So there it is, as if by magic. So I'm just sort of seeing what that looks like with the one photo in, having to think of where I want to put all these images. So just peeling that back slightly and sliding that in, putting a bit of wet glue, because then once it's in there it doesn't stick too quickly, and it's still got that kind of like moving around because it's wet glue once it's in there. I found the easiest way was to lightly sort of stick the cut file to that back shadow just so it didn't keep moving, and then peel back each circle as you pop the photo in. You may find a better way to do that for you, but this is the way I found it was the most easiest to do. So I've chose all 4 photos are from the same event, but obviously you'll have your own photos and decide how you want to use those. If you've only got 3 photos, you can of course just fill one of the other circles with pretty paper stamping embellishments like the others. Okay, so that's all my photos in. I love looking at these photos. These are from my daughter's wedding. That's my granddaughter and her 2 best pals, all being page boys and bridesmaids. So there we go. So really quite simple at this point. So I've used that lovely sort of muted pink gingham as a background. So just to edge that, I'm going to bring in some of that tealy colour shimmers. Spritz with a bit of water to activate, and then just going around that distressed edge with the side of a brush with that paint on. It just defines it in that blue, so it's quite a contrast to the pinks on the dusty pink and to the shimmers pink, but because some of the other elements have got that blue in it, it all comes together great, but also defines that from that back paper. So I am thinking about embellishing here. So I decided that I actually wanted to use these lovely stickers off the sticker sheet for making like little bouquets of flowers. So what I've done is all of them, I think there was 6 or 7 in the end, I've actually stuck them on some remnant white cardstock and then fussy cut them out. That gives them a little bit more thickness, so you can mould them to shape a bit, give them a bit of definition. So I am just stacking up a posy of 3 blossoms, one of each colours, just at each to a jaunty angle, gluing them to the middle, just turning up those edges a bit just for definition, and then with that lovely aqua embroidery thread in your kit, I'm actually going to make like a little hand-tied bouquet. So again, goes to the theme of my photos, but if you mean these flowers and tied like this are going to go with all manner of photos and themes and subjects. But I love this because it brings in that sort of like mustard yellow, and I think you've got that sort of rusty colour as well as that mint, and it's really sort of complements all the other colours and gives a pop of different colours to those pink on pink and black and white photos. So just tie in a bow here, no, just literally 2 knots. It's certainly not a fussy bow, just that natural hand tied effect, and cutting that off to length. I've done a quick type there, I think. Answer an email or something, multitasking. So just finishing tying those, snipping off the edges. Just turn those blossoms in to make so it's just not a flat element, and just sort of thinking where those 2 clusters are going to go. I really want them to frame that main photo and the larger photo in the centre, so I decided to go for them on a sort of like a diagonal, really. One at 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock if you're going to get technical with clock face terms. So just in those little gaps, you see those triangles. And they're actually, if you are thinking from sort of like design, graphic design elements on those sort of 2/3, you know, if you split your page into that grid, they're actually on those cross sections, which helps really pull your eye back into the photo. I'm doing a little typing again there, that's quite funny. Okay, so I'm bringing in some of the blue. Those circular stickers off the sticker sheet as well as the cardstock stickers were made for the shape of these circles, I think. So I'm bringing in a mustardy colour as well as a blue and a pink there. So you can see here I'm just cutting out a couple of those journal cards, and that's because I'm going to use a couple of those elements here. So I'm fussy cutting the doily. It's not too tricky to cut out, but I really like the fancy sort of lace effect edge there, and thought that looked really cute behind one of these circles. The thing with doing a layout like this and filming it, that creative process, I think it really gives you an insight into how people's minds work as they're designing. It's quite funny. I've got stickers all stuck on my hands here, so I'm having a play there where I think that's going to look best. It does actually end up behind that heart on the left hand side. I think about leaving the centre in and just placing it over one of the hearts, but then I think that really sort of takes that, you know, impact away from the cut file. So in the end, just nestles underneath and creates a lace edging around that heart element. So that fussy cut doily piece is well travelled across this layout, but it's stuck now. So you can see how this is coming together, just really carefully sort of building up and adding things, not to overtake from the cut file, but also just to add those pretty touches. So we've got another sticker going down here, just going through so the ephemera and seeing what else fits. You've got lots of different stickers in here that you can use and really make it your own. You don't need to keep with the same ones that I've got here. Just a word of warning though, if you do go off on a tangent and add your own, it may be something that you haven't then got for a class or an extra inspiration later on, but there's so much in this kit that you are not going to be spoilt for choice. So here I'm going to add some of the stamping. Decided to use this lovely butterfly. I don't know what I was going to call it, caterpillar. This lovely butterfly here. It's just a real simple, clean image of a butterfly. And then the heart that's got the text in the middle. That's just black stays on to there, just cutting them out roughly, and then I'm going to add a watercolour wash to them. So activating that lovely teal blue shimmers. So this is where I'm bringing in just a hint of that blue that's around the edging of that shadow of the cut file. Just a light wash across. The black still shows through lovely. Just giving it a little bit of a blot, so it's not a solid colour, with a baby wipe there. And just setting him aside to dry. I'm going to do the same with the heart in a moment. You see, I took my scissors to that and thought, no, it's still too wet. But I'm going to bring in that pink. So activating it there with a tiny bit of water. Just wetting my brush, making sure that blue's all off it. And again, just a swipe of that watercolour. I didn't need to keep it too in the edges because we're going to fussy cut these out, so it really doesn't matter if you go over the lines. I quite like that sketchy look, even without fussy cutting them out. That's a cool look. So I'm having a play there, thinking about what else I want to bring in, what else I want to prepare. So you see there's this cute little ornate, it's like a little frame, like a little brass frame it looks like, a little vintage find. So I'm cutting that out. It reminds me of something I gave my daughter to put in her bouquet on the day, which was a little locket with a picture of her great nan, my nan, in. And it really reminded me of that part of the day, although it doesn't feature in any of these photos. There's a bit of a nod to that for me. But the contrast of that ornate frame just adds a little bit of sort of grounding, I guess, to this layout, and it fits perfect. Fits perfect in that circle there. So I'm going to cut this butterfly out ready, thinking about where that's going to go. It's quite a simple one to cut out. I don't bother, I don't think, leaving the antennae. I think I chopped those off. I'm not too fussed about those. There. Just give it a little bit of a shape, bent in the middle. We'll see if it flutters to the right, left, or top of the bottom of the layout. Here I am playing a bit of ephemera and embellishment Jenga. There you can see where I've added a couple of other different elements. I've got that butterfly cut out from a die cut card. I've put that stamped heart, the pink just under that within one of the apertures of the hearts. Added a couple more of those circular stickers that looks like a stamp. And at the top and the bottom there I've added journal strips off the sticker book, which I've actually cut in half horizontally and added as a border along the top and the bottom. Now I've decided that I would really love a bit more texture and bring in that lovely aqua thread. So I'm just going round the circumference here of the cut file. So I'm actually going round the white, so that shadow white solid piece that we added in. Probably about a centimetre apart from each other, or 1/4 inch, those pierced holes. And then just a large running stitch. I think I used 2 strands of the thread. I didn't want it too chunky, and I also wanted to make that thread last because it's a beautiful colour for other layouts. Now if you really are not a fan of sewing, this isn't you know, integral to the concept for this class or needing to make this pop. You could easily, if you wanted to add the thread but not sew, you could do a thin line of wet glue and then just stick a length of the thread over that glue and round. Or you could journal in with a black pen, or you could make those teal paint lines thicker. So that was a bit fiddly. I didn't bore you with having to watch that, but I've cut the a happy day out of one of those 6x4 cards on the Simple Stories paper, and cut lots of foam pads into tiny strips to stick on the back. But I really loved the contrast to that black and white, and the script of that. And Oh Happy Day belongs with so many different types of layouts. But if you really want to swap that out, you've got the stickers and you've got the thickers, and some other sort of like wordy script things on some of those journal cards. So I'm bringing in that blue butterfly underneath the cream die cut one, just to so we've got a bit of blue on the right and then a bit of blue on the left. So you can see I've added some little heart stickers to the top and the bottom. Again, just to pull your eye between that middle section of that featured cut file with all those lovely circular photos and embellishments, and then the colours of the strips down the bottom. Helps break up some of that gingham. So adding the real sort of final touches here. So I really do like that square or rectangle stamp where you've got a space for the date of the year. So I'm going to be super brave and put that black StazOn straight onto the layout. I felt brave because I've got that gingham as a guide to make sure it's straight. So I decided that actually that I'm going to write in that in a moment the date, but also one of these stickers fits in that top part where you could put perhaps a title or place it in, and it fits perfect in there. So that is where it's going. Just a little trim off the side so it doesn't overlap the black. There. And again, it just brings in that more of a, I guess it's a blush pink really, that's in the hearts and a couple of little embellishments. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I hope you've enjoyed my class. There's a close-up. Look forward to seeing your interpretations. Thank you.